Okay, is this working? Is this working? I think I might have finally cracked it. Let me know in the chat if you hear things and see things. Okay, here we go. Excellent. Very sorry about this, folks. I had it all set up. It was all grande, and then it just yeah. It said, yeah, you're all ready to go, and then I hit go, and then it was all dead. Anyway, thank you for coming along. Thank you for Richard for abandoning the washing up. Say, who do we have here in chat? We have a dad called Richard. Hello. Well, let's start from the top. Positron Alpha, lovely to see you, mate. Charlie Hugh Jones, hello. Good Molecule, hello. Riggs99, hello, welcome. Tim Tickner, hello Tim, it's another Tim. Bob Swan S, Hamish Coates 1377, been alive for a long time, mate. Anyway, that's a terrible joke. Griff Graff 4802, William Sharkey, Hamish Coates, Bob Swan, E Boblin, big hello, Acoustic Man 818. Big hello to everyone. Thank you for joining. So yeah, I'm sorry for the sort of snafu in getting this broadcast going. It was I thought I went through all the hoops. I thought I'd gone through all the hoops of getting the broadcast set up, and then as soon as I hit the button, it was like, oh, you should set up your broadcast and you should link your account. And just say, mate, I thought I'd done that anyway. So here we are. First Karst instrument building stream. I'm a little bit kind of behind the aircraft, so to speak, as they say in aviation. I'm a sort of weird aviation nerd, not for any reason apart from like falling down YouTube wormholes, but I find aviation fascinating anyway. So I am, as they say, behind the aircraft, because I basically in the last few days I've spent in bed with a kidney infection, which is pretty brutal. So I was hoping to kind of have my ducks in a row and have plans and to come and present some ideas, like, hey, I could build this thing. I'm not 100% better. I have got very good at timing when I drop my paracetamol and ibuprofen. So I have a window, probably a couple of hours, just after my big sort of cold shivers, followed by sweats, followed by a period of being okay. Anyway, probably TMI. So Bob Swan S, yes, you see a drone machine. So this is something that I have been working on in the background. I think I have many feelings about Karst, and Aquatic Borealis, hello. I have many feelings about Karst and ideas, as you'd imagine. But I think one of my takeaways that since it's been launched, it's still very Tim Exile the Gamey, which is kind of, that's sort of, it was always going to start that way. But the idea is that this is a system that can grow outside that. But right now it's still very much sort of crazy modulation on 16ths. it's very acidy. It's very so I actually I saw a comment somewhere. Someone saying it would be great if you could do really slow modulation. So and I'd actually already in the background been working on some ideas around this. So here's something that I've been working on, a little instrument called Andrew Marshall. Thank you very much. I'm much better now. I've got antibiotics. I've had antibiotics since yesterday. They are a miracle of modern medicine, and they just work. So I'll probably, I mean, by this time tomorrow, I'll probably be like fine, proper fine. But I'm just like intermediate fine now. Why don't I just? Well, actually, another thing to say is these streams aren't just about me sort of broadcasting me messing around in the node editor or whatever. This is all also very much a kind of Q&A. So if you have any questions about anything to do with Karst, please do ask them here. I mean, I've seen a bunch of stuff in like YouTube comments, and a few people have emailed. Most I haven't got back to because I've just been ill. I'm sorry. If you've got any questions about Karst, please do pop them in the chat, because there's a lot going on here. And I think, trying to do YouTube videos where you sort of, it's, you come up with a clickbaity title and a clickbaity thumbnail, and you have to have a very sort of tight narrative arc. First question. Let's just go straight into questions. Acoustiman818, are you also building MIDI nodes? So in Karst, if you've ever used Reactor, you'll recognize a lot of how Karst works. Basically, I've tried to take, one of the things I wanted to do with Karst is basically build a platform where I could use all my sort of muscle memory of Reactor and not to have to relearn a new system, rather build a system that works the way I know already. So already in Karst you have the whitish greyish cables are audio signals, as you can see here. If you mouse over an audio cable, you see an actual oscilloscope-ish thing, and then you have these yellow cables, and the yellow cables are events. So they're not strictly MIDI nodes, because they're not strictly passing MIDI data, but when the standalone and plugin the standalone comes, because the plugin will also have MIDI through your host, but the standalone will, if you're going to be building Karst systems and mapping them to one or more MIDI controllers, the standalone app is probably going to be the best place to do that in, because DAWs are very limited. Very limited in terms of what you can map. So in the standalone, what you would basically, there'll be a layer kind of outside this that will then translate MIDI events and sort of pass them into the structure. That's actually, oh god, yeah, I mean that is a real rabbit hole. So maybe there's it's very rabbit holey. Do press on this if you want to understand why this is rabbit holey, because the whole way that signals get passed. Okay, I'm going to give it a shot. In Karst, you have basically three types of signals that get passed from sometimes from the sort of global transport, Oh, MIDI generators. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Spent 5 minutes answering the wrong question. MIDI generators. Yeah, basically. So, in Buckyball example, what determines the second track kick parameters change? Seems to change every beat or so, but why? If I turn Euclid off. Okay, well, let's start with MIDI generators. I mean, this is so Karst basically started life as it started life as NMS, new modular system, which was in Reactor, and now it's become its own thing. But that thing was a sort of response to Scapeshift and trying to turn Scapeshift into a modular thing that you could build your own generative, playable music systems. So yeah, in a way, a lot of the structures in a lot of these boxes are, the first bunch of boxes that shipped with Karst were sort of one-stop generator machines. Well, let's start playing this drone machine. So you had like the gen kick machine, and you just drop it in, and you get kick drums playing immediately, and then you could sort of roll dice, and that was my kind of initial idea. Was like, cool little kind of boxes that do everything that you can chuck in. And then the next batch of instruments after that have been a bit more kind of like breaking out the generators from the sound engines, so you can have a bit more control over what sequences you use, etc. So in the Buckyball example, let's go into the Buckyball example. What determines when the second track kick parameters change? Seem to change every beat or so, but why? If I turn Euclid off, then parameters on kick stop morphing. So where's kick? Pokemon example. What determines when the second track kick parameters change? My brain's running out of RAM. Second track kick parameters. Yeah, so when you turn off the sequencer, okay, so here's another little thing. Basically, Bob Swan, you're correct. Basically the Euclid is generating the modulation triggers. So this is another, the three types of signal that get passed through instruments in Karst. So in a rack here, I call these racks. It's basically like a sort of stack of Ableton racks. It's a good way to think about it. Signals get passed from left to right by default, and the signals that are passed are transport, which is basically like song position, tempo, play state like start or stop. You've also got an actual audio rate sort of intertick, so you can use the actual audio ramp to do audio rate stuff if you want to. So that's the transport bundle, and then you've got the trigger bundle. Actually, let me go in here and show you the event core, because this is where basically inside every instrument you will see this event core. Positron Alpha. I think it would be useful to just start from scratch and root some stuff. That's actually, that is a very That's a very good idea. Let's start a brand new system. Yeah, sorry for the chaos, folks. I'm behind the aircraft, but hopefully we can get ahead of it now. So, create a new instrument. So this is instrument 1. Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you, Nicholas, aka Positron Alpha. Very, very wise words from a very wise man. Okay, so I've started this new system. I've created a new instrument. I'm going to click this pencil icon here, and this is what you get when you create an instrument in Karst. And inside the event core is where all the juicy stuff happens. This is kind of where, yeah, I just spent a lot of time thinking about how to make it possible to create really interesting effects, really interesting rhythmic effects and trigger effects and modulations, etc. But basically not sort of force users to do loads of patching, to basically put the kind of patching, the onus of coming up with all the difficult stuff onto instrument builders. So inside an event core, here you see the transport source. So this is a transport that this instrument is right here is receiving from the global transport, because it's the first instrument in the rack. And then it's also got a transport out. So by default they're wired up. They're literally just passing through. So if we started another instrument, create another instrument here, then those signals would just naturally flow through like that. So let's go back into instrument 1. Yeah, Tim Tickner. I've been in touch a bit over the weekend, like through my sort of bed sweats, trying to figure this out. Tim's getting this bug in Chrome. I can't reproduce it. I mean, Tim, the thing that would be really, really useful is if you can send those console logs over, because that's going to give me it's going to be basically impossible to track down what's happening for you without seeing console logs. So far, it seems to be working fairly well in Chrome, but not for you, Tim. So we need to get to the bottom of that. Okay. So the other thing is a trigger source. And these are kind of like MIDI note events, with one very specific difference, that they don't. There's no kind of on and off. There's just a length, so which basically means that you can pack sort of entire. You could sort of theoretically like pipe an entire MIDI sequence through a trigger source without running into problems with like note on and note off states, because that's what the note length module does. It takes trigger sources and then translates them into actual like note on, note off. It's sort of, a timer. So note on for a second, note off, and then all of that all of that then comes out of the event core here. So let's start with a really, really simple example. Sine waves, sine oscillator here. Let's do something very simple. And what's that going to be? Actually, do I want to do that? No, let's do this in the event core, because that's the proper place to do it. So what I'm going to do here is take the tick. So if where did it go? I got lost. I clicked a button what I didn't mean to click. So yeah, if I hit the spacebar here, you can see when you mouse over the tick wire that the tick is just counting up. I stops counting up. Start again, continues counting up. If I hit the return to 0 button, goes back to 0, or it will start from 0 when it starts playing again. Going back to the chat, what we say in chat. Got back home from work. We're checking a bit cool. What happens to transport information set to the transport out node? Well, Joel Beauchamp. This is where, this is where it gets really fun, because usually in a DAW, you have the transport signal is just this sort of canonical song position, and it's broadcasted from one source of truth to every single thing in your entire DAW that consumes the song position, whether that's the piano roll or automation lanes or any of that stuff. But one of the things that I've always thought would be really freaking cool is if you could basically intercept transports and fuck them up. So that's exactly what you can do in Karst. And in fact, a lot of the fun of Karst is all about kind of taking the transport, manipulating it to create trigger events, and to create sequences, but then also to take those kind of intercepted transports and do interesting things with how you pass those transports on down the line. Okay, thank you, Nicholas, for being a legend at the fixing Chromie bugs. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to Chrome bugs. I should spend time showing you how this actually works when it does work, which it does most of the time in Chrome. Right, I'm going to do something super simple now. I am going to just generate a really simple kind of rising MIDI sequence by intercepting the tick. So I'll take this order module, which allows me to dictate the order in which events happen, because this is important for reasons that you will see. I'm going to put this into a modulo module, which basically it sort of loops. It takes the signal coming in at A, and it loops it by. Well, actually, I'm going to create a knob for this, and let's give this a range from 1 to 16, a step size of 1. So this is now outputting an integer into there. So then out of this lower unlabeled output will then come let's just wire it straight into tick, and you'll see. So this is now counting up to 9 or 8, and then back round to 0 again. So it's like it's a loop of 9, counts from 0 to 8, and repeats. And you see I'm actually sending that out the tick input. So this means that now instrument 2 down the line will be receiving this kind of like transport that's now looping every 9/16. So it's already, if you were driving another sequencer here, you'd already be getting like interesting weird effects, which you wouldn't if it was just using a normal transport. Right, back in. So I'm going to rewire that up for now, because that's not actually what we're trying to do. Now we're going to take a value module, because this will be, every time I move this knob, this is also going to be sending events out of there, and I don't want those events to get through. I only want the events to go through every actual tick, like on the beat. So I'm latching the output using a value module. If you've ever done any stuff in Reactor, this is 101. But this is 101 event ordering stuff. All the really important stuff to how you build sequences. And now I am going to create another order because I need to send the data. Oh, actually, no, what I'm going to do before that, let's say cycle and another knob. I'm going to call this bass, which is like the bass pitch. Actually, I might even. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have a few knobs in here. I'm going to add a multiply, which literally will multiply that by a range of numbers, and let's make that, I don't know, from 1 up to 5 maybe. And then I'm going to add that onto a bass frequency. When I say frequency, I'm to kind of zoom you a little bit ahead of what I'm doing right now. I'm going to build like a really, really simple kind of arpeggiator that's driven by the transport and will output kind of MIDI range notes. They'll actually be floating point, so they won't, it could be MIDI note like 62.1, but that will all get looked after once we get outside the event core. But that's what I'm just doing. That's what I'm building towards. Let's give the range from 30, MIDI note 30 up to MIDI note 100. Add that. Right. And now I'm going to wire that into pitch, and then length. That can actually remain a constant. So we're going to place a constant. The length doesn't really matter now because I'm not going to use a sort of proper note gate. So I'll just call it 0.1. Velocity constant. Just keep that at 1. Trigger count. So trigger count. Yeah, that's another. This is another. A trigger count is a very sort of Karst specific concept. Anyway, let me stop and read the chat to make sure I'm just not like running away. What's a keyboard shortcut to get that module to? Yes, keyboard shortcut. More building 101s. Anywhere in the node editor where your mouse is, hit enter, and then type the name of the module in. If you've used the Reactor again, you will know this. Yes, Joel, it's very very Reactor years. Bob Swan, MIDI utility generators. Yeah, basically, I mean, I would say there's already some kind of in there. Some of these are, there's basically 2 in the current batch of instruments: the trig, bouncer, and transport divide. So I've kind of come up with these little mnemonics, acronyms for different types of instrument. But yeah, like trig things will take triggers and do stuff to them. You can do all sorts of stuff to them. You can ignore them. create duplicates or flams, bounce, whatever, remap them. Let's say you could take a trigger, but do some kind of pitch transform if the triggers have pitch information in them, all sorts of stuff like that. And then the transport modules will be the same. They'll just be for tools for manipulating transports and getting interesting sequences like that. So back to the game. I want to get to sound. So trigger counts. So this trigger count is a very Karst specific concept. I really love it, and it's basically one of the coolest things about scape shift. I think is that every sound. Every parameter can be modulated alongside the sequence, and the way that modulation works is that you're actually you're not just sending like sort of pitch and velocity, pitch and gate. You're actually also sending this trigger count, which is basically it's a sort of MIDI gate on latch of the song position. So if you're in a sequence that keeps on counting up like this, in fact, let's just put that. Let's wire that into trigger count. If we, so you can see that count is looping up with, sort of counting up and looping with the cycle. Right, order. So we've got a pitch value coming in. We've got a length set. We've got a velocity set. We've got a trigger count, and now we just need the trigger, which is literally just the second port from the order module, because the trigger has to come last, the trigger event, and basically that sort of latches all of the values of these events coming into all the values that are at those ports when that port receives an event. So outside here, I'm going to use a value module for gate on. I'm going to take the pitch, and I am going to, that's already in hertz range. So I'm going to use pitch conform just because it makes things sound generally nice. Basically, pitch conform is the module. If you want the pitches to snap to the key up here, which you can now click on and actually opens the scale editor, which it didn't before. Joel Beauchamp, why is trigger count value looping instead of incrementing forever? I will show you exactly why. Because I'm using the value that's coming out of the modulo. So the modulo takes the actual tick, which is counting indefinitely, and it's moduloing that by 7. So it's literally it's kind of like cycling that within 7, and we're just taking that as a trigger count. But we could equally validly do this, and then the trigger count just keeps on counting up forever. These are the musical choices you have available to you in Karst because if you have a sort of infinitely counting trigger count, then you'll get very kind of non-repeating. If you use that to drive a modulation algorithm, then you'll get very sort of non-repeating, infinitely evolving modulation, which maybe you will want. But if you want to get that more sort of like techno lock groovy, where things kind of really lock in and you can identify repeating patterns, then you may want to build an instrument that uses something that's moduloed as a trigger count. But let's go back for now to infinite trigger counts. Okay, pitch conform. So scale. Now I need to go from MIDI to Hertz. So I use a MIDI to Hertz module. Takes in a P, which basically means kind of MIDI note range. So trigger count do not count by itself. We need to provide a count to the output node. You don't even have to provide a count. You just. I mean, you could. It would be completely valid to just leave it unwired, and it would just pass. Wire it up to a constant, and it would just pass 1. It just means that you wouldn't be able to use the trigger count as a modulation source. It's very kind of approach agnostic. I mean, you don't have to use trigger counts. You don't even have to like pitch, length, velocity, trigger count. You can ignore all of those if you want to. In fact, in theory, you could actually just ignore the triggers altogether. In fact, let's just ignore the triggers altogether. Use this value module, force it to a value of 1, and put an AD envelope, multiply that by the output of the sine wave, put the trigger into there, and put that in there. It should be going do 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 do. Oh. Okay. It says audio should be coming out there, but it's not. ¿Por qué? Oh. It's something. Oh, did I turn it? Oh, right. Yeah. It's only coming out the right. I've got my right headphone there. That's why I can't hear it. You can probably hear it. Okay, let me rectify that by that. Yeah. Okay, that's actually quite loud. So yeah, that's just using literally just using the the tick to drive the envelope. Okay. So now, but now what I'm going to do is hook up. Well, actually, no. If we're being really correct, we should hook the trigger up to the gate on. But because inside the event core, basically we're not throttling any of the tick events right now. We're just passing. So every 16th is generating an event. We'll come back to the event core in a bit and create something that misses some of the ticks, whatever. Anyway, if I do this, we should get a tune, I hope. Nice, there we go. A jolly little tune. How are the levels, by the way? Let me know if the balance of voice and music is okay. Right. So this is where the knobs I put in really come into their own here. So we can change the cycle up to 9, or it's nice. It's sort of classic, 4/16 rising chord. Change the bass. Cool. So yeah, that's your world's first sort of generative instrument built in Karst. And if you wanted to go and say change the key here, you could, let's say, move it to C sharp. So if you're using the pitch conform module, that will just always keep it in the key here. And also should point out that you can sequence chord sequences here. It's a bit rudimentary right now. I've actually got a completely brand new UI for this that I just haven't actually implemented yet. You can do fun things like you've got a tiny little sort of randomize button there. Right. Okay, so we've got our first thing. So a first important thing to do once we've got our first thing is to now put some of those knobs on the panel, because as you can see here, you've got the mini panel editor and the full panel editor, and they ain't got nothing on them right now. So over here in the panel editors, you've got the element browser, which is basically everything that you can place from the structure onto the panel. So let's just get cycle in there. I've got it set to auto layout right now, which is kind of fine if you just want to bosh some stuff on there so you can mess around with it, so we can go into the rack and then mess around with it. Yeah, annoying bug I need to fix. I keep yeah, so many little bugs that really need to be fixed, but it doesn't default to labels on. Let's just do that, which is these like annoying repetitive work. Anyway, yeah, so here we go. Let's now have some fun with not passing all of these events, because yeah, it gets very repetitive. It's just 16ths. I'm trying to think actually what's a good way to do this. Let's just let's just do this as another modulo function. So here I'm going to dive into a structure, which is basically like it's a node graph. If you've used macros in Reactor, it's basically like that. But I couldn't call them macros here because these are called macros. So what I'm going to do here, it's going to go dead for a bit. And I'll wire this up. And now I'm going to what am I going to do? Oh yes, modulo, buffalo. Sorry, it's a niche. It's a deep cut. There's this. It's the one word. Buffalo is the one word. You probably all know this. It's the one word that has is a noun and an adjective and a verb, and actually has multiple different meanings as nouns and adjectives and verbs. So you can string this sentence together. This is not important at all. Right, cycle. Oh no, cycle. I just put knob. Cycle. Okay. Oh no. Gate cycle. Yeah, buffalo, modulo. Anyway, this is stupid. Okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit off piece. Usually when I'm using modules, modulo modules, I try to keep everything to integers because it's very clean and deterministic. And what I usually do is I use a separator module here, and the default threshold is 0, and it basically means that if anything's a 0, it and say I pass it to this output here, the low output. Actually, order. We need to order everything. You need to order everything all the time. So, well, let's just do it with integers for now, because it does kind of make things cleaner. Let's say make it 1 to 8. Make the step size 1. Modulo in there. There we go. Val. It's always good hygiene, well, particularly when you're doing event stuff. So, okay, I'll undo this, and what will now happen is if I scrub this knob, you can hear these kind of like flamming things when like actual knob events are coming through and triggering things. Whereas when you have this value module, that is driven by the second output of this order module, then you only end up with things falling on 16s. So here you get so this is on a cycle of 3, so every third, no, let's say every. So it's putting every fourth gate through, and then if you change the note cycle to 7, then you begin to get a slightly more interesting note structure. It's not just counting up, it's not just counting down. It's the sort of because you've got a count of 4 in here, which is a gate cycle. Sort of fighting, not really fighting, but sort of dancing with a pitch loop cycle of 7. So the point of the separator is to literally separate out the events. So you can see, let's watch the signal coming in there. It's just counting up from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. And the separator is just passing, well, it takes a threshold, so it's like anything equal or less than the threshold gets passed out of low, everything greater than the threshold gets passed out of high. So if I do high, you'll basically get I hope. So I believe in Max, or was it Pure Data? It's called Spigot. As a module. I don't even know what they call it. What do you call them in Pure Data? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so that's cool. But now we've just got something on every 4th gate cycle. So how about we went a little bit crazy and we actually started to modulate the gate cycle. Value is like a switch debouncer. Not. It's just a latch basically. Whenever value receives an event at the top input, it outputs the value of the event at the lower input. It's fairly simple. It's useful for creating. It's just really useful for creating counters. You can, by kind of feeding. I'll create a counter at some point. Right. So let's find a way to juice this this rhythm up a bit. So what we can do here is then... there's so many different ways to do this. Okay, so the separator. The best way... So you've got this value going from 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. It's separating values that are equal or less than the threshold between values that are greater than the threshold. So now it's wide up to low. Basically, the only values out of 0, 1, 2, and 3 that meet the criteria for low are 0. So basically every 0 gets passed out of the low input. But then if you attach the high input, then you get basically everything but the 0. We gotta spice this up. Yeah, I mean, it's such a rich seam of discovery, like how to build generative sequences, and this was basically the rabbit hole that I went down when building Scapeshift. No, there isn't a comments node yet. But yeah, that's a really important. There's a few kind of utilities that I want to get in soon. Right. Yeah, my brain is slightly deserting me right now. Nodes index. Yes, so 100%. I mean, this is basically my my task this week, because I mean it is. Yeah, I mean it is totally fair. It is fairly kind of opaque right now, the node editor, because you can't mouse over something and get information about it. That is literally my job this week. I've already written some of the tooltips. I just need to get them in the system and get them so that when you click on a module, you see a mouse over it, tells you exactly what it does and how to use it. Okay. Now here's an idea. Okay, I know how to do this. Let's do this with modulation. So here's a cool thing that you might never have known about Karst. Knobs actually have modulation inputs. So the little tilde input is for a modulation signal. The star input is for the amount of modulation. Chris JYT, definitely not off topic. Very good question. Yes, it does support feedback right now. To read Chris's question, I have a slightly off-topic question. Does it support feedback? If so, with or without a Z-1 block? And is latency of feedback one sample for audio? So yeah, basically under the hood, right now it is actually block-based. So it calculates a block of audio at a time. But feedback is very important to me, believe me. So because that allows you to do all the kind of cool car plus strong stuff, and allows you to do cool stuff with delays, and all the juicy stuff comes from feedback, in my humble opinion. So right now, what it does, if you create an audio structure with feedback, it actually, I mean, it doesn't say anything about it. You don't see anything in the interface, but it actually creates. You do see some stuff in the logs actually, if you're a log watcher. But it creates a kind of small area, sort of around the feedback zone that runs at one. Like it runs the entire block every sample, so you basically get and it just like puts a Z-1 delay somewhere in the loop. But I'm in parallel, I'm working on an entire audio engine refactor to move the whole engine over to single sample at a time, because that's what VC Re-Rack does. That's actually what Reactor does. And originally the idea, theoretically having a block-based system is a lot more efficient, but as soon as you create these kind of exceptions to do stuff that you have to do in single sample domain, which is anything to do with feedback, then the cost of kind of running that block machinery at a single sample, it actually gets more expensive. And there's also really, particularly with event stuff, if you're trying to kind of time events inside an audio block, you also need, there's a bunch of machinery that you need each audio block to place an event at exactly the right place in the audio block. So yeah, basically I think I just basically made a mistake in the first implementation, just building it block based. I thought it was going to be more efficient, but actually I don't think it's going to be. We will see. The refractor is not done yet, and we'll see how it works out. Post American, hello mate, very nice to see you around these parts. Oh really? So Andrew Bell is working on VCV Rack 3, which will be block based. That is really interesting. That really does make me wonder whether I'm doing the right thing by going down. Well, we'll see. It all comes down to efficiency, because efficiency is really important in the browser. Running audio in the browser as WASM is incredibly inefficient. There's a whole bunch of like browser machinery that is very inefficient in its own right. So it's about double the CPU cost to run in the browser. It seems so far, in the region of not quite double. Maybe it's 70 to 80% more. Okay, anyway, right, I was going to try and make more interesting patterns. Yes, and I was going to use modulation. So, every knob in Karst has a modulation input for a signal between the values of 0 and 1, and then it has a modulation amount. So you can basically create another knob for mod amount. But what I'm going to do now is I am going to I'm going to turn the tick into a sine wave. I'm going to use the sine function here, which basically takes a signal and wraps it in a sinusoid curve. It's over the range of 0 to 1. So basically 0 to 1 is a 360 degree phase rotation. Tuning it again. Okay. Well, I'm going to be I'm going to be interested to see like some of the initial benchmarks of the sample based engine looked promising. Anyway, we will see. Let's move on. So I am going to first of all multiply the tick by a value, and I'm going to call this pattern and then I'm going to put that into the sine module, which basically wraps this count into a sinusoid, and then I need to rescale this. This bug, I've been trying to chase this bug down forever. It's some kind of use after free, and it happens when you move a module multiple times in succession. One of those really annoying bugs. We will be back soon. Here we are. Yeah, the great thing, I have to say the all the cloud sync stuff about Karst has been hard won, but it's kind of getting there. Also, to answer a question nobody asked, I basically launching Karst as a browser web app first may look weird to some people. I don't know. This is just like a narrative that I'm projecting onto you, and I would genuinely really love to hear your thoughts on this. But basically, the really big thing about Karst that I want to do, that I think is like critically important for the idea of the art and craft of musical system building, being able to share music as a system as art, it is basically to be able to share things. So that the whole idea of it being in the browser first is kind of testing the machinery of just stuff running in the browser. Soon enough, I don't know exactly when, because the most important thing right now is to get the standalone and the plugin done, and also build like a bunch more cool fun boxes to throw together and build your own stuff, and build things like polyphony and sample loading and all of that good stuff. But the big thing about Karst is like to be able to build a system, then to sort of share it as a piece of art, with not as a kind of like sharing a VCV rack patch where you kind of have to have a lot of knowledge about how the thing works in the first place. But I love the idea of, and I've always been into this. I realized I've been chasing this thing for like 20 plus years. This idea of creating interactive music and being able to share that, because just that kind of raw experience of having real-time musical agency. Like everybody watching the stream right now, we all know this is kind of the air we breathe, but so many people don't know this. And the kind of like the big windmill that I'm tilting at here is being able to build a system and then share it as a link, and then you can open it on your phone and have an experience for the vast majority of the planet who has never really like done a filter sweep. And to have that sense of like, oh wow, I'm twiddling this thing and it's actually changing. This thing is happening now. Anyway, so this is why. Sorry, chat. Oh, okay. Actually, that is really weird. Someone, VFX Yukir, did actually ask before why I chose browser first over standalone app. So it's always a massively long story. All my answers will be massively long on live streams. This is the occupational hazard, I'm afraid. Anyway, yeah, I hope that answer your question. I appreciate it's a sort of weird. It looks like a weird way to go about things, but also, I mean, I think music creation on the web is still it's a nascent world, but I see more and more of it. FL Studio now have a web DAW which is in beta. BandLab's been on the web for a long time. Yeah, there are some advantages to it. I mean, there are a ton of disadvantages. Don't get me wrong. Like low latency audio is a washout. I mean, doing sort of like real time live audio processing through the browser, just don't even bother, because you can't. When all of the browsers are different, but they all have their own sandbox, and they've got like unsettable latent input and output buffers. Anyway, I digress. Much digression. We were making a sequencer. So I was making my sine thing. Oh yes, now what I need to do is, hopefully without triggering that crash, which I will fix. It's just I haven't. It's one of these rare bugs, and it doesn't throw an error message in the console right now, and it's hard to figure out like what instrumentation to put in. Anyway, so the output of sine is -1 to 1, and that. Anyway, so the expected input at this little modulation input here is 0 to 1. So we need to do something. I'm going to be. This is incredibly lazy, and I do apologise, but I'm just going to rectify it. If I was being a good boy, I would have multiplied it by 0.5 and then added 0.5, but that's one more module, and we're on a deadline here. Okay, so now I've got a signal that is wriggling around. It's like it's a rectified sine wave, so it'll like be a sort of a boingy pattern. But if I start... Oh! One important thing I need to do here, just to make sure that the output from this module is always an integer. I need another modulo there, modulo of 1. Use a div output rather than modulo output to drive that. Basically this is rounding, just to make sure. So if this... Because when you start modulating this, even though it's supposed to be an integer with its step value, the modulation will kick it off an integer, and this just snaps everything onto integers. So the separator gets the kind of values it needs. Basically gets zeros. If it doesn't get zeros, then nothing will happen. So, with a bit of luck, once I start moving this up, we get a more interesting rhythm. And it's quite, because this is working on a sort of unbounded tick. It's very sort of non-repeaty, if I may be so basic. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do now. I'm going to try and turn this into a little instrument, which is an entire sort of end-to-end generation machine. So it's got its little sequencer. Now we need to do something with the sound engine. I mean, we could just lean into the sort of pure sine tone thing. I mean, another thing that is entirely possible is that when I drop this to beta backers, if you want to be a beta backer, you can, and support me as a developer. But no hard sell. Doesn't a rectifier just take the negative part of a sine wave and make it positive? Yes, it does. Actually, oh no, because this is an event stream, so you won't see the actual curve of it. Do I have a pen and paper? Why is rectifier not as efficient? No, the rectifier is just is more efficient. It's the yeah. Okay, I'm gonna need to get pen and paper. Yeah, good old analog math. Right, okay. Oh, the pen's not working. Give me a break. If I scribble hard enough with a... Oh, how annoying. I thought I got lucky very quickly. Right, okay. 2 eligible scribes. I think this pencil is going to be the way to go. Right, so rectified. Times 0.5 plus 0.5 will I might have to go back to the stream just to check that this is that coming through? Yes, I do need to keep a quill on hand. So yeah, this is the rectified waveform, and that's sort of times 5 plus 0.5. So basically this is an entire sine wave, but just working between 0 and 1. And that is a rectified sine wave. Note to self, I need note paper next time. Right, chat. Cool. Right. So anyway, yeah. Now we have a sequence of interest. Now what shall we do? What shall we do about the sound engine? The really lazy thing. Well, actually, no, it's not. So yeah, oscilloscope module. So you can mouse over and you get a sort of a waveform. You can also right-click on a wire and hit Add Probe, and you get a permanent probe which kind of shows you what's going through that wire. It's not quite an oscilloscope module, and actually, yeah, basically, there's a whole bunch of kind of panel modules that I want to build, because I'm actually quite hamstrung right now in terms of the kind of interface that you can build, because there's no sort of meters and lamps, and a oscilloscope would be great. Getting sample rate audio data across from the audio engine bridge to the front end bridge is a thing, but it's kind of been solved. I've had to solve it in a number of different ways. Specifically, to build this. Right. Chat, dear chat, do you want to you drive me on the sound engine for this? It's gonna have to be relatively simple, but I could. So your choices are simple 2-operator FM or some kind of simple subtractive. Like a kind of 2-oscillator subtractive. Or actually, here's another. And your third option is something sync oscillator, which I haven't yet used in any of the modules. Hello, Aperculum Audio. What's up? Welcome to the chat. Pulse width modulation square wave. Maybe another oscillator to modulate the other one, like a carrier modulator. Okay, so I'm feeling you. So sync oscillator is it sort of went fairly deep on this, because to build kind of hard sync oscillator. So sync oscillator is actually 2 oscillators with fully separate frequencies, but the second oscillator is hard synced to the first one. Well, it's actually not. The amount it's synced is also settable. So okay, let's go in. And let's have a knob for OSC2 pitch, and we'll make that go, I don't know, all the way to 48, something crazy like 48, and then we'll add that to that, and then we'll use another MIDI to Hertz. I'll plug that into the child frequency, and let's just YOLO. Yes, let's YOLO this in. There we go. And oscillator 2 pitch is doing nothing. ¿Por qué? Oh, probably, yeah, because sync needs to be 1. What's going on? Oh, okay, right. Right, yes, okay. You need to take the child output. So you get the lovely... I love me a bit of hard sync. Yes, Nick Bat. We all know about Nick Bat's PWM habit. There is PWM... I mean, these... I had a lot of fun building these oscillators because you can get pretty naughty with them and they sound... Yeah, I really need to trace this bug down. Is that Ben? Is that... No. Right, where were we? PM instead of FM. Pitch modulation instead of FM. Yeah. It's a different sort of a different scheme for audio rate modulation of pitch rather than frequency. I've never actually really tried that because I think what's going on here? Right, let's sine oscillator. Yeah, so you can get some really outrageous sounds. So this is a sine oscillator driving the pitch modulation at an unholy frequency. I think he said default is 110. Okay, well let's have a... Actually, I quite like that. Phase modulation. Flush bowl. Yeah, pitch is crazy. I think because you sort of bend the fundamental using pitch modulation rather than frequency modulation. Phase modulation also cool. In fact, I did use phase modulation on the hi-hat model, which I can go into it at some point. Well, okay, so now we've got our crazy oscillator horse. So let's have our funny little sine oscillator. What are we going to do for frequency? Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the phase of the sine wave on every gate on, just so you get really predictable outcomes. Let's go into pitch world, but then just use really low pitches. Oh, also, we're in. We need to get back into sine 0 to 1izing world. So I'm going to rectify it, and then for the modulation amount, I'm going to use a selector. Input 2 is going to be that. Input 1 is just going to be a constant of 0.5, which is basically like the center of pitch modulation. Now there will be no pulse width modulation. Then I add a knob, so I can turn up. Let's make that go from something slow to, if you want it to go wild, it can. So we can go further than that, can't we? MIDI note 40. Ooh, if we're being super fancy, we could actually make that, we could add that to the root pitch. Let's do that. You kind of lose something with doing that. Oh, actually, yeah, you also, let's an attenuator between the sine oscillator and the sync oscillator to change the amount it's... Oh, okay, there we go. Tick. Any chance you can share this patch? Yeah, 100%. This is the whole name of this game. This will be sometime after the stream. My goal is to get to a fully playable, fully mapped, drop-inable instrument, and I will add it to the Beta Backer pack of instruments. Probably not by the end of the stream, because there's a whole deployment process that I need to go through. But I don't know, maybe. Yeah, I could feasibly go through the deployment process as well. Gonna have to get a wriggle on. Okay, so this is PWM rate, value PWM amount, that is quite ugly when you're modulating oscillator 2 pitch, so I'm just going to latch that to the gate. So it just... So we need some filtering going on here. It's there's some juicy filters here. Maybe an OB or OB filter. I don't know. I'm not even sure why, but let's have cutoff. Knob, that is called cutoff, and we will have that as a delta above the root pitch. smoother to that because we don't want it to be all jumpy. And then the final thing, and then we'll also need something for the envelope to plug into. And then we will need a MIDI to Hertz. Cut off. Right, so this should now be. No, okay, so we need the smoother going out of there, and then that's okay, so we need a three-way add there. So I'm just going into like talking to myself while I rattle through things. Zone. We'd of course need attack. Oh, pesky little boy. Right, so we need attack, and we need decay, and attack is going to be from 0 to 60. Decay can be 0 to 70. I'm just gonna use one envelope for now, otherwise we'll get into like crazy complexity zone. And then I'm gonna have a envelope amount, env to filter. Oh no. Knob. Filter. Let's go up to 60 there. Smoother. Multiply that by the envelope. Add that onto that. And we need a resonance knob. Brute. A little brute. We're going to need to... Let's just have a clipper in there. What kind of clipper we're going to... Soft clipping. I think that's going to be nicer. Oh, that even at 0 drive, that sounds a little crunchy. Been working on a modular synth VST. Hope you see it one day. Ace. Yes. No, we like all the modular toys. You have a clock divider in there, so I mean, I guess you could say that this structure we built in here is a kind of clock divider. Well, it is. This is the unmodulated clock divider divided by 4. This is divided by 3. This is divided by 1. And then we start modulating it. And that's how we get this sort of funky rhythm. Yes, if you experience a crash, please do go up here and hit this little bug icon, and send me a quick overview of what happened. This will be sent to me, and it'll send like your last 200 browser logs as well. So please do liberally send bug reports. Yeah, those are super helpful, because it sends some of the console logs as well, which is really handy. Is there access to the pitch table from the scale menu? Not really. Basically, what you get in the scale menu is what you get in the scale menu right now. Right. Oh yeah. Attack 60. Right, and then multiply knob and to filter. Yeah, the value module is, I mean, what it does is really simple, but it is really important. It's basically, it separates kind of events from values. So the value that is, so events arriving at the bottom port don't get passed through, but events arriving at the top port get passed through with the value of whatever last arrived at the bottom port. Yeah, sample and hold. It's basically event based sample and hold, but because it's event based, not an audio stream, there's like a whole bunch of kind of logic stuff that you can do with it. You know, building sequences and counters and all sorts. So yes, I would say it's a fairly important module. Right. Right. Yes, we did this before, but I'm still trying to kind of iron out these weird situations where the cloudsing is still not perfect. It still sometimes gets a bit confused. Is there any shortcut to align node and cable? Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about. It'd be great to just, grab, lasso all of this stuff and hit a button and it just sort of magically snaps into place. So consider it considered. Right, I'm gonna leave it there with the audio engine now, because I think there's enough to get your teeth into. What I might do, how many controls have we got here now? Probably already too many for the mini panel. Gate cycle, mod amount. Yeah. I'm going to try and kind of rush out why aren't you selecting? Oh yeah, I can do cycle base value. Actually, no, scratch that. Let's put those in a page. So other, I'm going to grab a page in here, and inside that page, I'm going to drop these elements, just so we can keep them kind of aligned. Cycle base and value in their own little world. I'm going to turn this to manual layout mode, and then I'm going to drag this structure in there. Right, let's change horizontal spacing 16. What we're going to call this page. This is pitch, and this is gate. Okay, we don't. Let's just call it cycle mod and pattern. Let's go to the actual panel. Right, back into the structure. Now I'm thinking here about modulation, because where things get really kind of casty is when you can build. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to go in. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to pilfer this. What am I pilfering? I'm pilfering this lot. Yes, I'm pilfering this lot. I'm going back to the root level. I'm going to create a structure. I'm just going to call this mod. I'm going to paste those elements in there. And I'm also going to add a knob, which is called amount. And I'm going to create two outputs. This is going to be the no, that is going to be the modulation curve. That's going to be the modulation amount. That is going to go out there. And that is going to go out there. And so now I basically built a modulation algorithm which can drive all of these, which can modulate. I'm going to put this trigger count. Actually, let's abbreviate that because it's going to make all the modules really big. Do pipe up in chat if you have any questions or anything. Please do ask. I'm just here building shit. Trigger count. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this structure and I'm going to create a template. So this now means that this is now one of can be one of multiple instances of the same modulation algorithm, and you will see the purpose for this in a bit. Yes, you would build. Yes, Griffgraph, you'd build an effect in the same window. Like all the effects that I've built in Karst so far have been built in the same window. Man, there's just so much. There's so much stuff I want to build. Oh yeah, there you go. So you can see now a modulation algorithm is driving oscillator 2 pitch. So you're getting this kind of like per note modulation for that. So now let's do this for PWM rate. And then let's do this for this is beginning to sound a bit like some of the synths on the Richard D. James album. Yeah, no, what was it? The Richard D. James album? The one with I don't know, very very warbly synths. That was actually my first Aphex album. What I fell in love with. So you can hear, like, as I'm adding these modulation algorithms, the sound is getting more and more kind of modulated. Griffith. So have you, Griffith? Have you tried the mod delay effect? I don't know much about the Strager, but there's this one here. Let's drag it in. Mod delay. Ooh, ooh. That's quite nice, isn't it? There we go. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of one of the things that I really love about the way things work in Karst is you can kind of go deep into instrument building land, but you've also always got this kind of like rack level on top that you can just like, oh, then that's quite cool. Do you know what? Let's just like throw in a kick and then, you know, throw in some hats and like Gen Acid machine. Hello, Milky. Anyway, so yeah, you can kind of quite easily segue between going deep in building stuff and then going into a jam and then going back again. I'm going to save this down as a scene. a scene. Then, you just go back, recall the previous state, recall that state. Yeah, that is the whole point. Like that is one of the things really high up the sort of list of priorities of how Karst must work. Like, you must be able to just drag shit in and it starts happening. That's the whole thing. Because I always find, in the real world, even building instruments like this. I'm gonna mute this delay for a while, just so to kind of like stay focused on building this instrument. But in the real world, I always felt myself kind of, sometimes I'd go and, I'd go deep into building an instrument, and then I'd start like jamming with it and throwing other things in. But in, the way Reactor works, it doesn't really encourage you to approach things that way. Whereas Karst, with this whole scenes thing here, you can go off on tangents and build different versions. Thank you, good molecule. Import the structures to some kind of text format. Probably not. I mean, my plan with how to kind of share structures is that there is going to be, at some point, there's going to be a sort of library style, almost like social networky thing where you can share instruments and share structures, and the idea is that there'll be some kind of like free tier, and then there'll be some sort of membership tier. Basically, that's the idea. I'm trying to kind of like only go down the subscription route where there actually genuinely is a service. Hence, like the beta program, you buy it and you own the thing, and you will always be able to buy and own the thing. I mean, I think that the price of the buy to own standalone app is going to go up over time, and also if you get the standalone app, you will get like a few months of like the full membership to all the full network stuff. Anyway, yeah. I digress. That was much wider than an answer to your question, but that's an answer to your question plus. Right. Trick account. Yeah, let's get all this modulation tied up, and then I'm going to show you how modulation works in panels. Oh, I see. Programming tools for generating structures. Yeah, so I did the actual Karst file format is human readable, and I did make it so you can basically you could vibe code it if you wanted. In fact, one of the ideas I thought was like maybe as part of this module prompt here, you could also say, make me a synth with 50 oscillators and a toilet, and you could sort of hit go and it would like generate you something. I make no secret about this. Is basically all Claude code, so I'm deep down the AI rabbit hole in that way. But I think that like using AI in creative tools, using AI to create things. But then, yeah, I don't know. I think it could be. Yeah, I think it could be fun. It'd be interesting. Like, I've all the groundwork, all the kind of hooks are in there, so it should be not too difficult to integrate prompting. But it seems like it's a very divisive topic now. I mean, even like building things using LLMs. It is, to some people it's controversial. Less so, I have to say. I don't know a single engineer who is not using LLMs now. But people like adding AI into products where you can like prompt a thing. Just like actually, I love the craft of instrument building. I love to be able to build things, in front of you guys. And to share them with you and show you my process, and hopefully people can understand things. And thank you, Milky, legendary. You just supported. Thank you. That really means a ton, because this is for this wild, outlandish project. Where was I? I think there is something really valuable about kind of manual labour, particularly around things of culture, because then you get. I think one of the things that doesn't get talked about AI, that one of the real downsides is just the sort of lack of attribution. You can. And in some ways, I mean, in most ways, like in all ways, Suno can get in the sea, and the idea that you can write a prompt and get something out is just like yucky on many levels. But there's one specific reason that I don't hear talked about that much, which is that you don't get the experience of knowing that it's just stripped of all the stories, like who actually came up with using an 808 as a four to the floor kick drum, who came up with using 303s to make acid. This is getting quite annoying now, actually. Let's just turn the cutoff down. Anyway, I'm getting my soapbox. I should just get on and build instruments. Yeah, right. We've got all the modulation stuff in now. Let's build the panel. So, pitch and gate. Now we need... so we've got oscillator 2 pitch. Yeah, sorry, Nicholas, you weren't talking about AI generation. Thank you, Andrew Marshall. Thank you for joining. Hello, Godbath. No, this is not actually Car Plus Strong. This is basically hard sync. Hard sync, 2 hard sync oscillators with some PWN. Pulse width modulation. So yeah, I've just built this instrument. I've built the generator in the event core, which is generating sort of fairly rudimentary sequence. And then I've gone and built this sound engine. I've just gone and added all the kind of modulation functions in, and now I'm putting all these parameters on the panel. Oscillator 2 pitch, pulse width, modulation, pulse width modulation rate, pulse width modulation amount, cut off, attack. Oh, let's just chuck the knobs on. We can sort that out in a bit. Attack decay, envelope filter. Right, and so the final juicy bit is you've got these little purple blobs here are the modulation templates, and you can just drag one on and turn the switches off. And if you go to the instrument panel here, this should work. Well, actually, they'll probably all look this. Oh no, hang on, these ones. Right, yeah. So because of the way those templates work, you get this kind of knob-based switching. Oh, I messed up there. I plugged the same ones in. That's weird. I don't see any. Funny. That's funny. Or maybe I dragged the same knob on twice. Let's have a look. Oh yes, I did. That was why that was wrong. Attack and decay, not just attack and attack. I get these labels fixed. I did want to get this drone synth that I was working on out, but yeah, I think one instrument on the stream is enough. Right, let's think a bit more. Okay, let's call this modulation. Oscillated 2 pitch. Cut off. It's a bit of a shame not to have resonance, isn't it? Come on, that is well stingy. Knob. Smoother. And then let's have ourselves some resonance and some resonance modulation. Right, and now rename it. Resonance. Yeah. Right. I mean, none of the Karst UIs are all that pretty, but this is definitely on the lower end of the barrel. But that's all right for now. It works. Okay. Right. Let's turn all the modulation down. Yeah, so good question on macro mapping. So that's a kind of another phase that has to happen manually. Let's just do that now. So yeah, as you see, another kind of really unique things to Karst, I think, is that it comes with this controller panel at the top, which is, in some ways it's a bit limiting, but it's kind of designed to be limiting. It's designed to so as an instrument builder, you can decide how you map all of these parameters to the macros or not. But let's go through and do this now. So firstly, in the event core, cycle. It's kind of fun. Right, let's assign this to range, and then for the randomized group, that's pattern. Value, what's this like? So that's range. That's range, that's pattern. So what I'm doing now is that there are kind of two things to assign here, and these are also things that you can ignore all of this. Like you don't have to map all the macros if you want to just just jack a value module into the tick and drive an envelope generator and a noise thing to get like a hat on 16ths and do crazy stuff, or even not use a tick at all, just like use just jaff an oscillator straight into the outputs. You can totally do that as well. I'm not building Karst to. It's got a bunch of kind of rules and not even rules, definitions and infrastructure. It's quite heavy on infrastructure around like what instruments are and what they can do. The idea is that I want to be able to deliver a really cool experience to people who don't necessarily want to dive deep into building their own instruments in Karst, who can just like, oh yeah, throw in a kick machine, and here we've got a kick, and let's throw in a multiband on the outputs. This makes everything sound a little bit nicer. Because I think, for me, it's really easy as a nerd to get too attached to nerdy things. I'm gonna lower the volume of the synth. Comme ça? Is that better? Cool. Will the panel knobs be independently mappable from the macro knobs or on an external controller? Yes. Yeah, so another the panel knobs actually have a completely separate addressing system. So when MIDI controllers come, you'll be able to, like, particularly controllers with rotary encoders, you'll be able to kind of like you'll be able to sort of page through, you'll be able to browse by like rack instrument, and then it'll give you, let's say, rack 1, instrument 1, it'll give you all the knobs on there, and you'll be able to tweak them and like page through them. That's something, I did a lot of thinking up front of how to make it cool and easy to map MIDI controllers of many different flavors. Where was I? I was explaining something, but it's clearly not important. Mapping macros. Basically, I was saying, this is, I guess I've developed this idea of a sort of best practice already, which is still evolving because I'm still learning as I build instruments. What's best practice for delivering an instrument that someone can just grab from this browser bar here and drop it in, and cool shit will start happening straight away. And if you move the knobs here, that sound will start changing, and none of it has to be without the sort of untrained user or someone having their first experience. That all happens automatically. But if you're building your own instruments for your own pleasure, you're free to ignore that completely and hack things. For example, like here in the audio inputs, you've got a side chain. So if you connect these pips here to a sort of cross-modulated source, so I can connect the kick to instrument 1, I could actually let's just try this now. Stupid thought experiment. Like really dumb ring modulating this kick. Oh no, sorry. What am I doing? This. I like really dumb sort of ring modulating this synth with the kick. This is like just some of the like daft stuff you can get up to if you want to. There's loads of stuff to anyway. Aquatic Borealis, you answered my question about who the audience is, the music nerds, or is it accessible to less tech inclined or novice musicians? Yeah, my goal here, what I would love to happen is to kind of join up, because one thing that frustrates me about the world of electronic music is that it's so ghettoized. I mean, in our lovely little corner where we have our lovely Mylar Melodies and our Tom Whitwells and our Gaz Williams and our Nick Batts, and we love to nerd out about all these nerdy things. It's great, but to me it's so kind of ghettoized, and there's so much kind of amazing creativity and knowledge and talent in this world. And I just think it has so much more to give to the world than it gives to the world right now. And people are in the wider world are receptive to experiencing musical agency. Fry, Josh, hello, welcome. What I would love to do, my kind of like real sort of top end goal here is almost a sort of it's almost like social engineering to find a way to. So at this level, this is like the super nerdy instrument builder where you can build really wild stuff, and if you want to really take it to the next level, then you've got ways to kind of package it so it shows up in this world, which is like the next world above, where you need a bit less prior knowledge, and you can just kind of smash things around and tweak knobs and not really know what you're doing but have a ton of fun, but discover things and get your head around things and start to build a picture of what you like and start to curate things, and then at the real top level above this, which is the level which is coming soon, is there will be a share button here, and you can select a visualizer which will just be kind of modulated by all of these modulation signals that are coming from the engine, and select, say, 4 to 6 of these macro knobs, and then you just share it on a URL, and anybody can come in and just mess around, play your thing without any prior experience needed at all. And I would love to like draw the line between the super nerds and people who may be having their first kind of experience of musical agency. Thank you, Flashbulb. That is really that's nicely put, and yeah, you sort of nailed it. That's where I'm going. Like music, art, and code, like nodey codey. Right, I was mapping things. This is sort of the final. Actually, let me just go back. I've got a little checklist in my notes of instrument completeness checklist. Header controls wired up. Okay. So you'll notice in each instrument header you have a bunch of controls here. Like you have a power button and an amount knob. These aren't wired up. Basically, as a builder, you have to wire those up explicitly. So to do that, you go into the structure and you place a header module. And what I do in this case is sort of fairly dumb. I just multiply on-off by amount. But basically on-off is a sort of 1-0 signal, which is, is it on or off? And the amount is a continuous value between 0 and 1. So in most cases for sound generators, multiplying on-off by amount is kind of gives you everything you need. Run it through a smoother. And then multiply the output by that, and plug that in there. Right, and now we should have wired up header control. So if I turn it off, it turns off, turn it back on, and then I can change the level with this header control. Right, mini and full panels finalized. Yeah, we're not quite there. Full panel is nearly there. Let's give it a color. Custom main panel. Very limited color palette here, which is already annoying to me. Yeah, frankly, none of these are very inspiring. Let's go with that. That's fine. Oh, we need to give it a name as well. What do we call this? Plonker. I don't know. Anyone in chat feeling inspired with a name for this instrument? Do you build all of this with primary modules for user friendliness, or are there some core cell DSP as well? Also, the fact this is in the browser is blowing my mind. Yeah, I mean the technology for building something like this in the browser is relatively recent. It's it's all WebAssembly. You definitely pay a cost in efficiency. Corvette, I love it, but I might get sued. I'm not gonna get fucking sued. That is a Corvette. Alexitron. I'm gonna go Corvette. No, I like that. Corvette. In fact, I'm going to call this, according to my new convention, Gen, because it's a fully generative instrument, Gen Corvette. Oh yes. Right. Okay, I'm actually going to change these all to numbers because they don't really make sense not as numbers. value, that is range, isn't it? Hang on, how come that ended up? If it's a chord, it should be red. Yeah, it should, shouldn't it? Another annoying thing, there is no actual red. I mean, basically, I think in a coming update, there's going to be just like a full color picker here. Oh no, that's the wrong thing. I just want those. Let's leave those white. Main panel. There we go. It's the same color as Ed Multiband. Right. That needs to be a number. That needs to be a number. That needs to be a number. Right. I think that pitch algorithm just doesn't cut it now. That was like world's most stupid pitch algorithm, but I think we need, I know what we need. We need this old fella, our nice sinusoid modulation curve. Yeah, we need all of these, don't we? And we need to chuck those in there. And we need that. And we need that. Oh yeah, but then we need to round. Round it to 1. Div in there. Make sure that it always receives a 0 when it needs to. Right, that's your modulation curve. Right, that is doing nothing. Why is that doing nothing? Oh, maybe this needs a jiggle. There we go. Okay, so now those fellas now need to go. Mod amount. Pattern. Oh, did I get us? Why is our sequence not actually, pitch sequence not playing? Minor mystery, not one for now. Pattern number mod. Just call it mod number. Dorian with the chance of octaves. Feature requests, scratch pad panel, you can drag, copy paste stuff to and from. Yes, that's a good call. Cloudy with a chance of major thirds. Knight Rider. Oh yeah, it is a little bit. Yeah, something, it's really easy to forget you're on the panel editor and you reach out for a knob to tweak it and then you just move the knob around. Right. Yeah, this is getting kind of fun in its own little. Yeah, different background, something. Yeah, it's something to figure out. I mean, it's mostly a factor of not paying attention, like dragging the knob when you're in the full panel editor. Right. Okay, macros. I'm going to go back to my instrument completeness checklist. Main and full panels finalised, so we don't have the mini panel needs a bit of love. In fact, well, those can become numbers. Yeah, it's tricky with these gen instruments because they've got both the generator and the sound engine. I still haven't landed on a kind of best practice for what kind of like which controls to put on the mini panels. You don't want an overly crowded mini panel because the whole idea is it's a very limited bunch of controls and it's not overwhelming. You chuck it in and you've just got a few controls that you can tweak, and it's fun and not overwhelming, but all the right parameters are there. So cycle bass is important, I think, because that's the pitch. And range number. In fact, let's go to manual layout because then you can kind of squeeze more in. Let's do that. All scrunch those up vertically. Cycle range bass. modulation stuff can be reserved for the main panel. Gate cycle, gate number. Let's see if we can scrunch this up really tight. Actually, let's call that, if that is gate, then this is pitch. Gates. The mod amount. Oh, yeah, okay. Mod number. Oh, I see why that box is bigger. Yeah. That's another thing I need to fix. Pattern. Number off. On. Pattern. Right, okay, so that's a bunch of pattern controls, and now for the sound control. I think we could maybe, if we do small ones, let's just call this OSC pitch. OSC pitch. PWM rate, cutoff attack decay, input filter. Yeah, I don't know which one of these. There are 7, annoyingly, and that's going to be too much. What's going on in chat? Invisible grid in the panels, yeah. More res knobs, yeah. Fork. Happy Shadow, yes. This is my own environment, not Reactor now. I'm building my own thing. For many reasons. Right. Milky sounds like your brain is in a similar place to mine right now. I am well stodgy. PWM rate. Let's sack that off. Let's just have PWM, which is the amount of PWM. Small with a label. Let's just call you OSC P. Be more concise. And we can get 3 in this row. Cut off. Let's have a big cut off. I'm going to turn this delay on. I'm like utterly dried out by this lack of delay. Actually, yeah, just the general sound is kind of bugging me. Like oh yeah, there's no velocity modulation going on in this generation engine. Eurocon, will there be some live help system pretty soon that displays what each node does and how typical connections should be made? Yes, this is this is my work this week. I literally, this is the next thing. So by the next stream, hopefully, if my kidneys don't keep giving me grief, then that will be coming very soon. It's really important. I think, with powerful systems like these, you just need tooltips. I'm also working on a manual. I'm also instantly thinking about, so this sort of mystery panel up here, originally that was for a shader, which you could then kind of map to various modulation parameters, ready for when you've got system sharing, so you can share and kind of audio-visual interactive piece to anybody in your browser. You're hearing messenger alerts. Yeah, sorry, I've got random WhatsApp stuff. I just didn't mute it. I will next time. Coordinates with dots with fiction. I don't actually know. I don't know what that means. Right, where was I? Right, macro mapping. Macro mapping. This is like one of the last things that we need to do. We go back to instrument completeness checklist. Million full. Oh no. Okay, we need to finish the mini panel. Cut off. At and deck. Small. Label. Deck. Deck, and then let's have an envelope to filter. To filter small. God, this is far from a pretty panel, but it will do. Remy! Hello, mate. I've been thinking of you a lot. I haven't seen you recently. I was wondering how you're doing. Very nice to see you here. I am building a sort of a bastard son of something. I don't really know. It's called Corvette by Milky, I think. It's based on the sync oscillator, which I haven't used yet in the context of any of the Karst instruments. And I'm just about to kind of wrap this up. I've got mini and full panels finalized. I think, can we call this finalized now? Let's see how it feels. Can we do enough? Oh, do you know what this does need? If there's a cutoff, there has to be a resonance. Oh man, I keep on reaching out for reactor shortcuts. Like Control E is unlock the panel, which is very different to how things work round here. Resonance, there he is, tucked down the bottom. Small. Reson. Give you a label. Right. That looks like an absolute dog's dinner. What can we do? We could chuck Reson up there. That is so unorthodox. I think cutoff is just going to have to become small, like all his chums. You ain't nothing special, cutoff. just have a much more sort of 3x3 of grid with one space type of vibe. Yeah. Much more reasonable, I think. How's that looking? That's quite nice. That kick's getting a bit boring. Let's turn that fella off a bit. Nice. It's definitely got its own flavour. Oh, cool, Remy, we've got a show in Berlin. Nice. God, I had a weird dream about a sort of abortive trip to Berlin a few days ago. Right, we're nearly there. This panel is good enough. And here we've got everything we need, I think. I'm a bit concerned that bass, I'm going to change, I'm going to allow bass to go down a little lower. It changes movement to 20, otherwise it's not. If you wanted to use it as a bass. Yeah, he's definitely he's an odd fella, isn't he? Mr. Corvette. But yeah, we're good. We've got a thing. Right, let's finish the mappings. Pattern. This is the pattern for the pitch modulation. Okay, I'm not going to assign that to a macro, but I'm going to assign it to a randomized group, which is pattern. Mod amount. I'm going to map this to micro complex and that's a pattern. Cycle. Alright, I'm actually going to unassign that. Range. That's the range. Bass. That's just a pitch. And randomized group pattern. Okay, that's all of those. Here I need to go edit the pattern. That's not going to get assigned. Amount. That goes to modulate. And shape. Then we go through os to pitch. You could. Two shows, amazing. Does it need a sub under it? This is. Oh, there we go. That is a very good idea. That is a very, very solid idea. And let's do that. Let's just take frequency. Multiply that by knob. So question, should the sub be at the original octave or one octave below? Probably one octave below. Let's just make it one octave below. Multiply the frequency by 0.5. 0.5. And then multiply that by the envelope. And then just add that. Oh no, we need a third thing to multiply by, which is a knob, which is sub amount. Do you know what? I was literally just thinking that this annoying bug hasn't happened for quite some time, but here we are. Anyway, reload. Who's in it for the reload? Right. Oh, I'm just going. Yeah, sine and square option. Yeah, I think we're in the. I need to go home. So it's just going to be a sine, I'm afraid. And then add that to where is the source? Where is it? There it goes into there. Slightly underwhelming. Oh, I think it's actually genuinely quite low frequency. Do you know what? I'm just going to scrap that because I think the job to be done here is actually replacing, because with this hard sync oscillator, the fundamental basically just completely disappears as soon as the oscillator pitch goes up. Let's take the cycle down. There we go. Proper classic acid. Yeah, I think the putting an octave below was a bit much. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, although it is, I mean, it is like yet another acid machine for Karst, and Karst is rapidly at this rate becoming a one-trick pony. Many other non-16th based tools are available. Are buildable. Actually, one thing that I haven't built at all yet is like wave folders and distortions, and that would actually be something to build. Yeah, maybe next week. Actually, I can't remember where the idea for this stream came about, but it just felt like a good idea, because it's such a kind of, there's so much inside Karst that it's hard for me to figure out, like, if you're doing a YouTube video, it needs a lot of thought and scripting and planning and then shooting and editing. It's a whole thing, and I think when you've built something there's just like so much packed into this that I don't even know where to start talking about it. Hello, Jeff. Which of my Jeffs are you? I'm blessed to have many good Jeffs in my life. Oh yeah, I'm quite pleased with this little bass line actually. This is a little chunkster. Ah, no, the delay makes it sound like Psytrance. Yeah, like really good acid synths don't need any effects at all, I find. Physical modelling. So there is, well, basically the resonator, this resonator, all over the shop. Is basically Karst strong. But yeah, I mean, it's just one flavour of Karst strong. Actually, the drum engines, I realise, are the snare. That's something, the dead instrument. Snare instrument. This will just be triggered. Oh, actually, even more fun. You can put it before the resonator. And then you can start going crazy with it. Yeah, I mean, this is where Karst gets into it gets into madness zone very quickly. Okay, I see what's going on with the scale now. It is actually working, it's just not updating in the header. Okay, that's a Berg, and I don't like that second chord actually. So that second chord can get in the C. Right, did I do all the mapping? I'm not sure I did all the mappings. PWM rate. PWM rate, modulation, that's modulation speed, isn't it? And randomized group. That is shape. Oscillator 2, pitch. Whoa, is that tone? Overtone. And that is sound. PWM amounts. That is, I don't know. Unstable. And sound. And resonance. That is unequivocally resonance. And sound. Attack is unequivocally attack. And shape. Decay is unequivocally decay. And shape. M to filt. Feels like a shipping forecast. M to filt. M to filt is accent. And that is shape. And cutoff is unequivocally tone. And sound. And subamount. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Thick. And sound. And that, I think, is everything. Right. Oh, did all the sequence things get mappings? I'm not sure they did. Oh, yes, these guys didn't. Pattern, gate cycle. Pattern does not get mapped, but it is pattern randomized group. Mod amount. That is going to be complex. And that's pattern. Gate cycle, that is intense, but it's inverse polarity, and it is pattern. So now if I turn down the intense, the rhythm gets less intense. So do you think we could pull the triggers from lane 1 out to another lane and have a trigger filter gate? Yes! Yes, you can. So, for example, let's say bring the kick back. Well, let's just be stupid and put the kick into the resonator on the second channel. And then let's say stick on mod filter, and then we drag a cable from the output of Corvette into mod filter, and now the triggers from Corvette are pinging the mod filter. So you've got this lovely kind of cross modulation effect. Let's just turn the amount of... Mike Hayward, hello. Thank you for swinging by. Thank you for watching for so long. But yeah, do sleep. It's very important. I need to do that too at some point. Yeah, Remy, like, I need to make so many videos about this stuff. I mean, to be honest, I could really do with just sort of downing tools for a month to create a whole ream of videos. One of my ideas is to actually have tutorial videos up in here in this little screen, sort of context sensitive ones, so when you do something it'll be like, you know, tweak a macro and it'll be like, learn about macros. Nicholas, thank you. I mean, this has been going on way too long. I'm almost done now. I'm kind of determined to get a finished instrument. We've done all the mappings. Oh, presets, fucking hell. Yeah, it is actually like making a sort of my sort of gold standard of an instrument in Karst. There is actually quite a lot to do. So the next stage, let's turn off all of this stuff. For anyone who's still watching and still has the patience, good on you. I need to make presets, because it's important to make presets in a saved instrument, because the instrument randomization picks its random values from the presets, and if you don't have any presets, it doesn't, basically the instrument dice doesn't do anything. And it's important, well, for me at least, it felt sort of arbitrarily important to be able to have a good experience when you roll the dice on the instrument. So let's just save this down as a preset. Let's turn this mod down there. Oh, this crunchiness is unfun. Yeah, well, one of the things I want to do is translate, what do they call, migrate, there's another word in code, I forget it now, my brain's rotting, but all of the finalist DSP, because that's because yeah, the compressor stuff, the dynamic stuff in here, it's you know, it does a trick, but it's a bit cute, TBH, and the DSP that I developed for Finalist is just way nicer. So at some point I want to go really deep on bringing all of that in here, because it just sounds so much nicer. And having, you know, just having really good dynamic control that isn't clicky and clippy is good. Instrument effects trig gen template. Yeah, good call, actually. That's a very good call. So yeah, Remy, yeah, presets in the individual modules. Yes. So the idea of presets, well, I mean, firstly, you can just use them as presets, but they're basically the sort of fodder for the randomization. So like every time you drag an instrument into Karst, it actually gives you it randomizes the settings of the instrument, but it's based on, it's more like kind of cross splicing presets. So it's not just like, you know, noise, completely random number generated. It's actually numbers that made sense to someone at some point, just so you don't kind of get exactly the same thing every time. Hello, Traversary. I am building instruments in Karst, which is my new instrument building platform, and we've just built this instrument live on the stream called Corvette, which is this kind of, yeah, I don't know, sort of like acidy synth thing. I'm just making some presets for it. kind of like that. It's almost just like percussive stuff. That's weird in its sort of weird, ugly way. It's a weird fella, this Corvette chap. So Traversary, yeah, this is my first stream, and there's so much shit that I haven't figured out yet. There should be a big banner at the bottom that says go to app.karst.systems. It's a browser-based tool. There's a whole free tier. You can what I've done tonight. Now building an instrument you can do for free. If you want to support me building this, there is a kind of beta program. I will be 69 quid will get you the standalone and plugin version when it comes later on. It gets you all the content that I'm creating for it, all these little boxes. But yeah, for now, all you need to know, go to app.karst.systems and have a play. I'm just going to kind of speed run these presets now. Let's jaff up some modulation. So offensive. Cool. I just always end up going back to atonal land. Right, we've got enough presets now. So there's a decent amount in the free tier now. You basically get all of the instruments up to here, that lot, and you can build your own instruments from scratch. That's something that's really important to me. Is it's one of the things that I've always felt really stupid about Reactor and Max and SP is that you have to spend $200 or whatever before you can even find out if it's something that you want to build in. And also, you know, from the company's perspective, if you want, you know, to get something like this going, you want to have a completely open door for people to come in and build stuff. I do love Atonal Land. Apps.karst.systems, that's the link. Yeah, man, I like rudimentary. I've been really sick. I just didn't get my shit together for this. So, what I should have done is there should have been a big link to try Karst. But yeah. Next time, we live and learn. All baby steps. Right, have I checked all my instrument checklist? Micro-randomization presets, control defaults. Control defaults. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's an important thing. Transport chain. Transport previous, yeah. Link. Trigger defaults. Local. Why aren't you changing? That's weird. It'll do, it's fine. Right, I'm going to save this. Hit the save button. Gen Corvette. So there we go. There is Corvette. It's in mine at the bottom now. Gen Corvette. I didn't do it all caps. Let's delete that. Do it again. Save. Gen Corvette. Right, and now we can just make loads of Gen Corvettes. Let's make a whole rack of Gen Corvettes. Oh, they're all going to be taking each other's triggers, so we need to put them on their own channels. Why aren't these interfaces building properly? This is definite kind of like Incunabula era Auteca kind of vibes. Yeah, this is my kind of atonal. Right, let's roll some dice. Nice, yeah, absolute chaos. This is yeah, I mean it is borderline on this. Let's have some mod delay. Bring this mod delay down, put it on the main output. As if that makes it any better. That is well shrunky, isn't it? Shrunky AF. Oh, he's got his charms. Something like neuro-based synth. Probably. I think if I'm honest, I don't really know what a neuro-based synth is. If I had some audio examples, I could definitely give it a stab. Too much drive going on here. Yeah, those delays, the drive circuit in the delay is getting really driven because everything is coming in really hot. Let's pull some of these levels, let's go into the mixer. Pull some of these levels back. Oh, that's a lot nicer. It's actually ended up in quite a nice sort of melodic land. I've been forgetting to save scenes down. This is actually, dare I say it, even pastoral. Which one is doing that lovely line? Is it the first one? It is. That's lovely. Getting quite tasteful. Yeah. Patreon, there are some Patreon member only channels, but there are also some public channels on the Patreon. Next week I really need to get my shit together because it's just daft me not having like the link to the app and the link to the Patreon and the link to Discord and all of that. I will get my shit together. I will get my shit more together next week. But for now, we've got a thing. I quite like this. Oh, another thing to Discord server link. This is where it's one of these things that should be right at the top everywhere all of the time. My brain is too addled right now. No, come on, let's do this. This is important. Account info, server subscriptions. Man, disc. I'm not going to go on a rant about Discord. Oh, that's what, because I'm not actually in a server. Right, there we go. Invite to server. Send a server invite link. Okay. Link coming in chat in 3, 2. Oh, where is it? Where's my chat? I had a chat window. Oh, I see. There it is. Swing by. There it is. Yeah, man, that modulation knob is got too much power. This is a proper little like tyrant autocrat. This modulation knob. Yeah, Remy, I need to sort out all my funnel stuff. I've just been like too madly stretched with just like getting Karst working and getting distracted with this modulation knob. Madness! And back. And it's quite, yeah. I'm getting a little bit lost now, in it, like in a good way. Yeah, this is nice. This is the sort of thing that you could just like leave on all night and go to sleep to, and then wake up and go. Yeah, the whole Karst network thing is coming. Yeah, I'm in a little bit of a sort of crossroads, because I need to figure out. Basically, there's an absolute monster ton of stuff to be built. Like really an insane amount of stuff to be built. I mean, just getting this into the standalone app. I've been building the standalone app, so it still compiles to Juice. I can run it as a standalone app, but then getting it as a plugin, working inside all the doors, testing it, getting it stable, and then building all of the kind of MIDI mapping kind of stuff. That is it's so much work to do, and it's like I'm as excited about the standalone and the plugin and the MIDI mapping and all of that deep world there as I am about sharing systems of the link and the whole kind of like web social, sharing projects, collaborating, forking systems, all of that stuff. It's all very exciting to me, but it's all a lot to build. So you won't need Reactor. So this is its own thing. And this is going to be, I'm building this to basically I want this to see me through to the end of my career. I would love to be building this and building things in this until I am no longer fit enough to continue building things in this, whenever that may be. That's what I'm going for. So yeah, I'm one of the things I'm kind of figuring out now is how to fund all of this, because it's still, even though there's like an absolute ton of stuff here already, it's still not fully ready for prime time, and it doesn't really feel like it makes sense to keep on like pushing people hard to get. And basically, if you're really into this and you can support me and you see where this is going, absolutely go and grab the sort of beta backer tier thing, because this will definitely be worth your money down the line, because the standalone app is definitely not going to get any cheaper. And also it helps me keep the lights on and keep focusing on doing this. A couple of years ago, when my last company failed, which had like a lot of investors, it was a proper startup job. Noisefield, yes, it is possible to contribute. If you go to app.karst.systems, where you can use this right now, just set up an account, you can start using it. If you're one of the beta backers, you will get all of the like all of these instruments down the side, and then you'll also get the standalone app and plugin when that comes later this year. So yeah, that's the best way to support. Next stream I will try and be a lot more kind of overt about that. That's how to get involved. But I am like, basically a couple of years ago, my last company, like some very bad things all happened all at once. One of those, as a sort of knock-on effect of a lot of those bad things happening, my company sort of disappeared up in smoke, and after that I was just like, I'm not going to take any investment ever again. I'm not going to take on any debt. I'm just going to like build stuff from revenue, which has sort of worked so far. But with Karst, it's like it's a really big thing, and I am thinking that I need to find a more sustainable way to fund this, and like I need to take time over this to like really do it right, and not just be chasing a reason to hound people's wallets down for just enough cash for me to like keep the lights on and feed me and my family. So I am thinking about maybe like seeing if I can secure a small amount of investment. Nothing like I used to in the olden days, because things are different now. I mean, you can build a ton of stuff I mean, there's no way that a single person would have been able to have built a thing like this even a year ago, such as the fast pace of the advance in AI. I know exactly what's happening here, actually. This is denormal cancellation, but it's making it very fuzzy. Right, there we go. A small holding. Yeah, UK living conditions are getting tight. I feel this, and it is. Yeah, it's sad to see it going that way, and it's tough as well. Like, as you know, I support a family of 4. Basically, I said, well, my partner's going back to work, next month in a week, as a teacher, so that will take some pressure off. But it's still like, you know, one salary is like 25% of our cost as a family. So yeah, I mean, like, supporting a family in London, in the UK, from one person is pretty brutal. I've been in Berlin. I lived in Berlin 2007 to 2010. So Noiseful, the bet to contribute. So the ways you can support, you can support me on Patreon. Let me find a link to the Patreon as well. Patreon link incoming. Yeah, man, I so didn't have my shit together for this stream. Where do we go? There. Oh, I see, via GitHub. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I'm open to this. Like, right now, I have been. I mean, a few friends of mine have got collaborators on the repo. I'm definitely open to ways, new ways to coordinate software development. I mean, I've done a bunch of it. I've done a bunch of it myself. I've done a bunch of it as, like, you know, leading a team, being a sort of like CTO, well, CEO, but kind of CTO in a lot of ways as well. So I think I can. Yeah. What am I saying? It definitely needs good control and coordination. So, but yeah, let me think about this, because I have in my mind there's kind of like 4 levels of involvement in Karst. At the top is players, people playing when we have shareable systems. You know, just like playing a system on a phone and like, hey, that's fun, noodle. And then patchers, people throwing stuff in here and building systems and having fun. And then builders who sort of operate at the level that we've been hanging out at today, building instruments, etc. But then also developers who, but basically, like right now, it's basically me working on the code base. And yeah, I'm definitely open to being more open on GitHub. But I need to kind of think that through a bit more. I think probably where I'm at with that is like, there's a few friends of mine who I've known for years who are engineers, and these are the people that I've shared the repo with, and some of them have gone in and looked at the code and suggested a few changes. No one's actually like put a pull request in yet, but that That could work, and I'm just I'm really open to how this whole thing could unfold. Kickstarter, yeah. I did a Kickstarter with Endless. I would say Kickstarter and software don't mix well, because the whole thing, the whole shtick with software is kind of being agile and shipping things fast, iterating, and we got ourselves into a lot of bother, making some fairly big promises in a Kickstarter, and then being like really late on delivering it, and it was a bunch of stress on many different levels. It's not to say that software can't work on Kickstarter, but I think Kickstarter works much better for hardware, for games, but particularly like physical tabletop games, that kind of thing. I think software less so. Software, joysticks in Brighton, they were good days. Noisefield, yeah. Well, look, come out and hang out on the Discord, because I think, certainly right now, if anybody who I was going to send, invite as collaborator on the Git repo, basically just someone that I've got a relationship with, really, but also not averse to the idea of something a bit more kind of like decentralized and permissionless. Those are all slightly scary words and pejorative, but we start a Bags account and create a Karst coin. Yeah, I'm not going down that road again. Yes, yeah, I had a attempt at the world of crypto. Didn't turn out well. Not going to do that again. Karst does not need its own shitcoin. J&B's beat making tabletop. Okay, interesting. Right, folks, I must this has been almost 4 hours now, so pretty epic. I will try and get this deployed into production. Hang on, well, actually, can I do this now? I probably can, actually. Now I just need to find beta backers. Right, there we go. Need to find the right folder. Systems, instruments, beta backers. Go there. Go to mine. Gen Corvette. Download. Show and Finder. Drop that in there. Right. Selection in bundled content. So I'm just talking to an agent. Just added the instrument I made on the stream to the beta backers instrument selection in bundled content. Gen Corvette. Add this to the beta backers packs manifest and push to R2 and push to prod, then staging. Yeah, I've kind of got into this weird habit of Wait a minute. Oh no, have I run out of oh man, I've maxed my weekly allowance. Oh. Adjust limit. Adjust that. Just to do this. Right, okay, it's off. Yeah, there will be no Karst coin. I'm just, that whole world can get in the sea. Yeah, I'm just trying to. I'm trying to push this instrument up to production in the background. Claude is working on it, so hopefully it would be lovely to get to the end of the stream with it, and you just hit refresh, and there it is, magically, automagically. Should tell me soon enough. It's a fairly simple deployment process now. I did a bunch of work on it a couple of weeks ago, getting it so you could basically just like add a new instrument in. It would just plop it into the bucket, the R2 bucket. Man, the state of just like web app deployment infrastructure nowadays is wild. It's just so good. And like in the endless days, we had to set up all these servers. Like it was all on DigitalOcean. Had all these set like a bunch of different servers, and then we had like servers doing load balancing over those servers. But yeah, with Cloudflare, it just does it magically. Like, and scaling is just a non-issue. Like all the database on Supabase, all the storage on Cloudflare, but then also like deployment. You can just sort of push it to Git, pushes it straight to Cloudflare pages. It builds it and then deploys it. I mean, yeah. Anyway, it's all nerdy kind of stuff, but it's good. Yeah, man, nearly midnight. This was a long one. I've generally found that like making instruments to the standard that I want to make them is, you can get an idea going really quickly. Are the updates to the Reactor-based plugin still in the pipeline? Well, like Scapeshift and Pattern Shift. Yeah, I mean, basically, realistically, probably not so much, because, it's just going to be tough to find the time, and to be realistic, what happened after the insolvency news came is that the bottom just sort of dropped out of that market, so it just became very hard to sell anything made in Reactor. So it's going to be hard to like find. Basically, if I'm going to find the time to do more updates on that, it's going to have to be subsidized from something else. Something else is going to have to do very well, for me to like, because right now I'm putting all my time into this, and it's still not enough. Fine list, though I've got if any of the Reactor stuff is going to get updates, fine list will be the one, because there are a few things that that could be done there. Some sort of quick wins. Parallel streaming Twitch and YouTube. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good idea. I did sort of think. My impression is that generally sticking to one platform and nurturing an audience there is better, rather than it just gets it's. If you divide your, I mean, it's easy to get a Restream account and stream to everywhere, but it's just hard to kind of really build the momentum. You don't really build momentum on any platform if you do it that way. That's my general impression / received opinion. Will you remake Scapeshift in Karst? Well, yeah, Karst is basically a platform for building your own kind of Scapeshifts. So yeah, the idea is, when there's more stuff in here, more features, more builder features, etc., then there will be I've got an idea, but basically that there will be, aside from like the standalone app and the sort of community membership thing, there will also be sort of drops of stuff from time to time, which will be like a batch of systems or a batch of instruments or a combination of both. And the idea is that each of these systems would be their own little mini Scapeshift, but with lots of different flavors of their own. So yes, Karst is the Scapeshift evolution. Do you have a macro snapshot module? Tell me more. Say more about what you mean about that. Okay, so I think if you refresh your browsers, there should be come on now. There we go. In built-in, there should now be. Oh, it's not there. You said it was there, unless it's. Oh, Gen Corvette. There we go. Down at the bottom there. Gen Corvette is now in built-in instruments. Yeah. So go to app.karst.systems. If you're a beta backer, if you're not a beta backer, there'll be a little banner here to click if you can support. Yeah, push to Karst template would be amazing. How long will finalists be on discount? I don't know, to be honest. I don't have an exact plan for when the sale's going to end. A few weeks. Oh, I see. The style cards. Yeah, so I've got a bunch of ideas of so right now you've just got this kind of these scenes here where you can flick around scenes, but once you're a crunchy fella, aren't you, Mr. Delay? Basically when the standalone comes, there will be different ways to kind of package up these scenes into maybe like themes or something like that. Push thing will come down the pipe. Yes, I mean, mapping to push is going to be a big thing because it's such a powerful controller, particularly with the screen. Right, my brain is really rotting now. I need to go home and have some food. But Gen Corvette is now live on app.karst.systems. Hey, it's Beardy Man, just when I'm about to go, mate. Anybody got any Veras? Anybody got any salmon? Man, my brain's about to ooze out of my ear, so unfortunately I have to go. Come down to Timbers tomorrow. There's anyone who's in London, there's a gathering at Timbers every Wednesday evening. And you're all invited. It will happen. It's now going to happen every Wednesday evening. Sometimes there will be plans. There'll be someone will perform something. We will listen to something. Someone will demonstrate something. There'll be a talk about something. But sometimes it will just be a gathering of people. And tomorrow, I think it's just going to be a gathering of people. Although I was thinking about listening to Biosphere's Substrata, which it's absolute canon for me. So good. So anyway, if you're in London town tomorrow night and want to come down, want a good night down at Timbers, then come by. Right. Yeah, I've got it. I gotta go, guys. I gotta go. You've been amazing. You've been amazing. I've been Tim Exile. Come back next week. I will have much more of my shit together. Bye for now. Big love. See you all soon.